Hi, everyone. We are so excited for this conversation today about JROTC. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our 21st Military Facebook Live. My name is Natalie Mack, and I am a high school educational consultant as well as the Military Outreach Coordinator for HSLDA. I'm also a retired Navy chaplain's wife and homeschooled 5 of my own kids. 4 have graduated and gone on to college and graduate school, and I have an 11th grader still at home. So today I have 2 guests, Tara Lyons and Scott Woodruff, our legal director. So we will be having a great conversation today. To all my fellow military homeschooling parents that are joining us on Facebook, we're so glad that you are here. Will you please go ahead and let us know in the comments where you are joining from? And if you have a student interested in JROTC or is currently or maybe did participate in JROTC. Also, remember, you can put questions in the comments, and as we get towards the end, we will make sure we take time to answer your questions. So we will go ahead and get started now. And if you are coming in, just let us know where you are viewing us from. So, Tara, will you go ahead and share a little bit about yourself and your military family to get us started?
Of course. Thank you so much, Natalie, for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I've been a military spouse for 20 years. My husband is an active duty Army officer. He has 27 years under his belt this April. So we're getting up there. Yeah, yay, almost 30. So we have 5 boys that we've homeschooled since 2013. We have one graduated like you who's in his first year of college, and he's 19 and then a senior in high school this year. We have an 8th grader and 2 11-year-olds that are in 5th grade. We've been at 10 duty stations and love the Army life.
That is awesome. You have to get in how many duty stations? That's like so important. I know there are some military families who don't move, right? They are just assigned to a particular spot because that's just where they're best needed, or they are an EFMP category where they aren't going to be relocated. But in general, we move a lot. That's what we do. And we're really, really great at it. So I love to hear the stats about that as well. So as you're coming on in, let us know where you're watching us from, and any questions, just post them. We'll get to them in a bit. Mr. Scott, our legal director, please share with the audience how long that you have served at HSLDA for making homeschooling possible, and for which states do you provide legal counsel?
Thank you, Natalie, for inviting me on the program. It's great to be with you. My dad was in the military, in the Navy, and when I got to college, the question I always hated to answer is, where are you from?
Yes.
Because it took a long time to explain.
Yes.
But setting that aside, I am, as you mentioned, the Director of Legal and Legislative Advocacy for Homeschool Legal Defense Association. As part of that responsibility, I have overall responsibility for all of our state level legal and legislative work. Personally, I'm responsible for advocacy work in Virginia, Maine, Michigan, Iowa, Missouri, New Jersey, and Puerto Rico. And I've been working at Homeschool Legal Defense for 25 years now.
That is awesome. I am so happy that you have shared with us all of those details. And my home state of Virginia, I have reached out. You have supported me with here at Fort Belvoir, as well as Quantico and other areas with the military community. Thanks, Mr. Scott. I'm thankful you're joining us today.
Thank you.
So we have people coming in. I see you coming in. I see Brittany's coming in. She's has a son who's 14, located at Joint Base Andrews. Awesome. Joining from Norfolk, Hampton Roads, 10th grade son interested in JROTC. We have Julie Hurst, Beth Stafford in Rogersville, Missouri. We are not a military family, but my son is interested in joining in a JROTC program. Great. Welcome. Yeah, this topic is not just for military families. Obviously, anyone who's interested, who has kids who are interested in it. So let's talk a little bit about what JROTC is. So a textbook definition, it actually offers a unique opportunity for high school students to enroll in a leadership and citizenship program. It is coordinated under something called the Career, Technical, and Agricultural Education, CTAE. That is an umbrella in public schools. But because we homeschool, we want to know, like, okay, the details about how that helps us, right, and our children. Well, thanks to the National Defense Authorization Act, JROTC is now open to homeschoolers and has been for a bit. Mr. Scott will tell us more about that. Due to modifications in that National Defense Authorization Act, homeschool students in grades 7th through 12th can access JROTC in public schools. So, Scott, again, thank you so much for all of your efforts on behalf of the Fight for Homeschoolers to be able to participate in JROTC. I did accompany you to Quantico a few years ago, and that was the main question that those families had there at Quantico. And so can you share with our viewers today and the replay viewers as well, talk a little bit about the struggle to make it legal and how did it end up getting added to the NDAA?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Natalie. First, let me back up just a
Yeah,
teensy
sure.
weensy bit and
Sure.
explain what all those letters stand
Yes.
for. Uh, Many people have heard about a program called ROTC,
Yes.
especially if you lived through the Vietnam era like I did. It stands for Reserve Officer Training Corps.
Mhm.
ROTC per se is a college program, and students who go into that, if they participate all the way, end up with a type of reserve officer status when they're done, and they get like quick admission into one of the branches of the service. That's the college level program.
Mhm.
The high school level program is called JROTC, Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. Now, if you're in the high school program with the J in it, you don't end up with a reserve officer status. But they're kind of like the high school program is kind of a pipeline to the college program to some extent. So that's why the name is the same. JROTC is not specifically intended as a recruitment tool for the military. It's more considered citizenship training, career preparation, instruction in military science. They're mostly run by public schools. A few private schools have them, but it's primarily a public school program. And for many years, homeschoolers had a difficult time getting into a public school JROTC program because public schools just didn't want them there. I became aware of this problem, and together with the big Virginia homeschool organization, HEAV, we worked on legislation in Virginia in the 2018-2019 session to make it so public schools had to let homeschoolers participate. That bill passed the Senate, but unfortunately, it died in the House. We weren't planning on giving up. But at the same time, we were trying to solve that problem. Other people were trying to solve it, unbeknownst to us. And Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas teamed up with Senator Doug Jones from Alabama to change federal law. That bill went through both houses, and it was placed on then President Trump's desk to sign in late 2019, and it was signed. And it requires any public school that operates a JROTC program to make that available to homeschool students. So that was a big deal. That was like,
Yeah.
wow, this
Yes.
problem got solved. We didn't even know they were working on it, but
Right.
we were really, really happy about that. Now, a hitch we run into is that the trickle down has been glacially slow. And I
Yes.
don't mean the modern glaciers that move fast. I mean the old-fashioned glaciers that move slow. So it's been now, what, almost 5 years since this law passed? And every month we run into school administrators who don't know the law has changed.
Yes. Yes. And one of the reasons, because we understand that we still get those calls, right, at HSLDA saying we're having trouble, our student is not being allowed to participate or anything like that. And so that's one of the reasons that I wanted to do this particular topic, so that our homeschooling families can be armed with the information to know what the law says. They know they can reach out to us if they have any difficulties. And I wanted to also allow Tara to share her story with her son as well. And so that those who are joining us can possibly just see, oh, this is potential for our children as well. So as we go ahead with it, I appreciate that information, Scott. Thank you so much. That background was really good in explaining the difference between ROTC and JROTC for our families. So Tara, go ahead and explain a bit about your homeschooling journey, please, and how your son got involved in JROTC.
Yeah, of course. We've been homeschooling for 10 years now. And my son, Charlie, who's my second, he had a friend that was in a high school in Washington State, and it told him about the JROTC program when he was in 8th grade. So he became really interested. I started to explore how do we get our kiddo enrolled in it. And Washington State, luckily where we lived, was really easy to work with, the school district, where we just dual enrolled as a dual enrollment student. And then he would go into the ROTC class once a day. And then COVID hit and he did most of it online for that second half. We moved to California in 2021, and we had a problem where I probably should have called Scott about. Knowing now. We were registered as a private school in the state of California, and the school, it was at Fort Irwin. The school was about a 45-minute drive, and the school there told us that we weren't allowed to do the JROTC program because we were enrolled as a private school in the state of California and not recognized as a homeschool. So needless to say, we didn't push it because we were only there for a year. And then coming into Virginia, this is our second year here in the school district with the JROTC program. And it's been a great experience. They're very easy to work with. And we're also, he's considered a dual enrolled student, same way. So he just attends class every other day.
That is great. I love that. So when I heard Fort Irwin, yes, right. So yeah, that was our first assignment. So I feel like if you have made it through Fort Irwin, you are like good through anything the military throws at you. Would you agree?
Yes, we survived.
Yeah, you survived. Exactly. You survived. So, and the other point I wanted to bring for our viewers, if we have anyone from the Northern Virginia, Fort Belvoir area, where I'm president and Tara's there as well, what is the school that your son participates with for the JROTC? Is it Hayfield or Mount Vernon?
So he is at Hayfield. Yeah, okay. He could go. Mount Vernon is where we were zoned for, and they have a Marine JROTC program there. My son was very strongly wanting to do the Army ROTC program. And so just one extra piece of paper allowed us to go to Hayfield for him to participate in their program.
Okay, good. I wanted to get that out in case we had any of our fellow families in that area. And since you're there, you can let them know that. So how has the experience in JROTC been for your son?
So it's been extremely positive. I actually sat him down and talked to him last night and said, hey, give me some of your feedback here now that you're almost an adult. What do you think? He said, I've seen him grow a lot of personal growth through the program. He would agree. So he's learned a lot more about leadership. He's learned a lot more about collaboration. I think he has gained a lot of skills in working with people from all kinds of backgrounds and walks of life, not to mention the physical fitness portion and a lot of citizenship, opportunities.
Yes, definitely. And all of those are key things that you can put on the transcript, extracurricular activity resume. Actually, you can put that there. And even some families do put, and we'll talk a little bit more maybe about this, but they will put the JROTC as well. So, but here as consultants, we actually recommend something called an extracurricular activity resume or sheet where you can put these things. And when you're applying for college specifically or scholarship opportunities, you were talking some buzzwords that are really important, like leadership and citizenship, right? And, working together in groups and teams, all of those things become really relevant when a student is specifically college bound, where they're going to be answering those application questions about, tell us about your leadership experience. Right. So it's really important that we look ahead to where our students want to go. And this is a great opportunity if that's something that they are interested in, definitely. So I see quite a few people joining us. Thank you so very, very much. We will get to your questions at the end. Thank you so much. Continue to put them in there. Let us know if you haven't where you are joining us from as well. So Scott, does HSLDA still receive calls for support for families experiencing challenges with enrolling their student. And we talked a little bit about that. Can you share a little bit more about that and like maybe a typical call scenario, just so that a family listening will, feel very comfortable and confident in reaching out to us for support?
Sure, we do these all the time. There's a slow trickle from all over the country. Um, Before I talk about the process, I want to jump in and mention one thing.
Yes.
Some of these programs are in very high demand.
Yes.
Some of them have really bizarrely early dates for signing up. I encountered one where if you wanted your child to go into the program in the fall, you had to sign up in January of the prior year, and you had to do it in the 8th grade. Now,
Wow.
I don't think that's typical,
But
but
it's good to know. It's good
it's
to
good to
know.
know. And
Yeah.
so, the minute your child shows an interest in that, it would behoove you to get on the internet and check out that particular program and find out sign up deadlines, et cetera. And be aware that these programs are administered on a school by school basis, not a district basis. So, for example, if your Virginia school division has 3 high schools, which would be
Mhm.
common in a big metropolitan area, they might have 3 different JROTC programs.
Wow.
So you need to not go just to the school board website, but the website of each individual high school to get those sign-up details. All right,
Okay.
took care of that item. Now, how it
Yeah.
comes in, typically, mom calls us or emails us, says, hey, my daughter went to sign up for Air Force JROTC. They told her, oh, you're surely well qualified, but unfortunately, we just don't take homeschool kids. And then the mom contacts us. I write a nice letter to the administrator telling them, oh, by the way, did you miss the memo? Federal law changed in 2019. You're violating federal law.
Mhm.
And then I get one of 2 responses. I get, oh, gee, I'm sorry, we'll fix that right away. Or, well, we're going to talk to our lawyer. So, but either way, we work it out. We've had probably one situation where we had to drop a subtle hint of suing them,
Okay.
but most of the time, after 1 or 2 letters, they acknowledge that it's the law and they move forward.
Okay. Okay. So if you're listening and you are experiencing challenges, definitely we have advocated for families whose children have experienced barriers, obstacles to enrolling. So that was good information, Scott. Thank you so much. As well as I think it was really important to what you said about making sure that you don't look just at the school district website, that you actually look at the schools within your area. And that's what I'm hearing with Tara with the school, 2 high schools here in the Fort Belvoir area. They had totally different programs. So you would do well to, like Scott said, as soon as your student starts to express some interest in JROTC, even if it's still early, even if they aren't technically in high school yet, you can go ahead and get that information so you know the deadlines and any particular requests that they might make, because they can have different requests. Yes, Mr. Scott, different schools can have different requirements per se about what they're looking for in a student. And is that correct? Or
Well, sure, but let me amplify. There's national level policy that applies to all JROTC programs, and then each branch tweaks that slightly in their own way for the
Okay.
national level for that branch's program, and then each school can tweak it again a little bit. So there is some variation. Let me jump in and say that the manuals that the branches use to operate these programs are woefully out of date. I was looking at the Navy's manual this morning,
Wow.
and it has not been updated for the 2019 change. Its edition date is 2018. And so
Okay.
it's, like 4 or 5 years old. And so if any school official looks at the official Navy JROTC manual, they'll get bad information, not
Right.
accurate information. So, but we're here. We're happy to help it out. I can punch out a letter in 30 minutes. I can quote the federal statute, and I can get that letter off really quickly if a family runs into a bump.
Great, 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 great. And Navy, did you hear what Mr. Scott said? It's time to update. It's time for an update. So definitely. So thank you so much. I wanted to say, Tara, have you encountered any challenges with integrating JROTC into your homeschooling routine? Sometimes families are a little hesitant, right? About, okay, how is this going to work? We're homeschooling, we have other children, or, just in terms of the time to get them, right? Because typically someone in ninth grade, ninth and 10th grade, they're not driving yet. So tell us a little bit about that. She said she had that part, right?
I would say the non-driver part was the biggest adjustment, right? When you homeschool, you get to choose your schedule, right? It's like pick your adventure. When you're in the ROTC program in the high school, it's a class that they're required to be at when they're required to be there. So I think that the non-driver portion was the hardest part. Our school counselor at Hayfield High School was amazing. So he let us pick exactly what period of day that we wanted to be there. So we chose the last period of the day. So it makes it easy for us to get through all of our homeschool that we can. I go zing him over there, drop him off, and come back and get him. Now that he's driving, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Not as big as of a commitment. Other than that, I would say the paperwork required was just something that I wasn't prepared for. They wanted shot records, transcripts, all of the paperwork you would expect when you're enrolling in a public school. And so I was caught off guard when we first enrolled and had to scurry around and come up with all those items to then enroll him. Yeah. Other than that, I think it's real minimum homework, and really it's minimal outside of the normal school day requirements, unless they're in extra. There's like co-curricular activities that you can be in. So if your student chooses to do that, you'll have requirements maybe on the weekend or after school.
Okay. Some additional requirements may exist, but I know. So now he's driving, so he can get in and out amongst the school buses and the lines and the backup himself.
Yes. Praying every day. God help us. Yeah.
I know. I hear you. Yeah. So you mentioned this a little bit, but in reference to your son's character development, you've noticed some benefits to JROTC, right? What have you seen?
Absolutely. I think his confidence being in an environment that's not at home, where he's expected to have deadlines, that's been a great thing. Homeschoolers and our deadlines. He's also been expected to finish assignments up to the standard that the school decides, whether it's lower, sometimes in our standards at home, or maybe higher. It really depends on what you do. I would say this social interaction, he really has benefited from social interaction with kiddos from all walks of life. In the program, he said the biggest thing he thought has helped him now that he's almost graduated is the interview process. So they go through a boarding process for promotions, right? Just like they would interview. So he said it's really helped him practice for job interviews and also for scholarship interviews. So that was a big pointer for him, was getting all that out, practicing in a safe environment. And then of course, I think it's a great place. These kids they're learning leadership, but they're in a safe environment where they can succeed safely and fail safely. And they have really positive feedback both ways. And that carries on. Yeah.
I love that. So there's a soft cushion there if they don't quite get it right, there's a soft cushion there, right? And that's kind of what we want. We want them to have these experiences, but they're not out yet in the real world, but we want them to be preparatory, definitely. So sounds good. I love it. So there are other homeschooling parents that are joining us and will also be watching the replay. So what advice would you give to them about JROTC? I think they can surmise from what you're saying, but what would you actually say to a homeschool parent whose child says, I really want to do JROTC, and she's thinking, how in the world I can't do this?
I would say just, have a really frank conversation with your child and see if their heart's really in it, if it's something they really want to do. My sense says that you get as much as you put into it. So you can just do the bare minimum. You can show up to class and do the homework, or you can put all of your energy into it, and you can really gain, leadership skills. And he has positions of authority, where he's now leading other students, and he's in charge of planning and organizing what they're doing. And then also the extra team. So he participates in Raiders team, which is, I would say it's like a competitive, it's orienteering, physical fitness, kind of team building But they also
Okay.
have J-Lab, like it's an academics lab. They have drill and ceremony. They have marksmanship. So there's a lot of extra things that you can get out of it.
Wow. Wow. I didn't even know. We almost could do a whole nother Facebook Live just breaking down all those
Right.
different components. That is great. I'm going to pivot over to Mr. Scott now. So if a family does not want to contact their local public school, say they have a student, who wants to do JROTC, but they're like hesitant about going through the local public school, are there private school opportunities or even homeschool clubs where students could have the, opportunity to participate in JROTC?
There are a few very large private schools that have JROTC programs. On the other hand, the National Defense Authorization Act that we've spoken of that was signed in 2019
Mhm.
doesn't apply to them.
Okay.
And so for private school JROTC programs, homeschoolers don't have a right to participate. That's a big difference.
That is a huge difference. That is it. So again, the family would contact that private school, and if the school says no, we don't allow homeschoolers, then there's no law that they can call us to say, hey, we need you to get involved with that.
Right.
So okay, so that's good to know. That's good to know. Definitely. So Tara, does your son have a future military career path that he is planning?
He does. We had really exciting news the week before Thanksgiving that he accepted a scholarship 3.5 years to his university through the ROTC program through Army there, the Army program. So really
Awesome.
excited. Yep. That means he'll do the ROTC program as he's going to college and then commission, when he graduates.
That is so awesome. I was just speaking with a couple of leaders in different homeschooling communities, and I was sharing that there are several tracks to military service. And enlistment is definitely one, and that's the one that many families hear the most about, going to a MEPS station. Oh gosh, I threw in an acronym. And so our non-military might be like, what's a military entrance processing station? Something like that, I think. But anyway, the recruitment process, right? That's the one that I think a lot of families are most familiar with. But there are several other tracks to military service. You got the academies, the military colleges, and the ROTC route that your son's been offered the opportunity to do. So congratulations to him.
Thank you.
That is fabulous. And so, and that's a benefit there, I'm sure, because he's already participated in a version. Going to be quite different. My husband participated in ROTC in college as well. So, but he's had some. He will have that experience definitely from JROTC. So that is great. That's great. So, what about any extracurricular activities, just overall, and balancing them? How has that gone for your family? In reference, like for example, when I think back, like for our 5 kids, we had one who ended up going and getting an NCAA scholarship and played soccer, D1 soccer. That was a commitment for the whole family. I mean, for the practices, and we were in Virginia Beach part of the time and overseas in Naples, Italy, and it was a lot of investment. And she worked hard, so we felt very comfortable supporting her dream because she was a team player, helped at home, all the things, right? And so it wasn't just saying, hey, I need you to invest and not giving back. But the reality still was that I was loading up people in the car to go to practices, right? And we had it was just a juggling act. In hindsight, it was worth it for us. But I just wanted to speak to the families who are kind of like thinking, these extracurriculars can get to be a bit much. So any thoughts on that?
I think we approached it the same way we do as being a military family, is we're all part of a team together. And so when one person of the team makes a commitment to something, we all have to support them. Sometimes one person on the team has to give up a little bit. Maybe it's me having to drive back and forth to the high school every other day. But, it's just a team. I think it's definitely a team effort. And then just being flexible. I just think, being flexible with our homeschool schedule and flexible with, the opportunities that we give our kids and utilizing that.
Right. Utilizing that time flexibility, we are in control. Now, obviously, if you sign them up for programs like JROTC, they have to be there at a certain time, right? If you sign your children up for online programs, they start at a certain time unless they are synchronous, right? So there is, though, still that control that we have as homeschooling parents to tweak our schedule to accommodate the passions and interests that our students have, especially when they can identify it and they work hard and they contribute and they support, like, the whole overall team. So you are correct. I love that. For the military family, we all like, okay, we got orders. We all get it together and we we do what we have to do to get to the next location for sure. Mr.
Right.
Scott was a military brat, right, Mr. Scott? So he remembers that as well. So I wanted to go ahead now and say we have a surprise topic edition. So yes, JROTC has been our focus, but we're going to throw in Civil Air Patrol. So Civil Air Patrol is similar, but it's quite different. So Scott, I'll let you go first. If you can share a little bit about Civil Air Patrol, and then Tara, I will ask you to share your experience and a little bit about that.
Sure. Thank you, Natalie. Civil Air Patrol is operated by an organization called Civil Air Patrol, Inc. It is not operated by the United States Air Force. Civil Air Patrol is totally civilian controlled. Air Force JROTC is under the joint authority of the Air Force and the local public school. They're both aimed toward high school students who are interested in a career in aviation, aeronautics, aerospace. They both involve similar kind of character development, skill training, physical fitness. But a Civil Air Patrol program can be sponsored by a church, by a private school, by a big homeschool group, whereas an Air Force JROTC program is always going to be sponsored either by a public school or a private school. So Civil Air Patrol is also popular, good program, but it is distinctively different from Air Force JROTC.
That's good. That's good. Thank you so much for that. So that was a little bit of a surprise topic. So Tara, can you talk to us a little bit about, you have a son, another son, I think, right?
Right.
Who is in CAP, what we call CAP, Civil Air Patrol. Share with us a little bit about that.
Sure. And it was a brand new program to us. We'd never heard of it growing up in Iowa. It's not something that's really readily available there. But just like Scott said, it's very similar. When parents ask me what it looks like, I say if Boy Scouts and JROTC got together and made a new program, it kind of has elements from both. So that's what it's, it's kind of a little bit of both. So it has similar educational focus of citizenship and leadership. It's for kids 12 and up. My son's 14 and he's been a member for a year. It's also available to adult members, which is really cool. So if it was something as an adult that you were interested in, you can also join as a member of Civil Air Patrol. They focus around physical fitness and citizenship, a lot of educational opportunities, but they're mainly for aviation minded folks. So it's really centered around aviation. They do some search and rescue. They also do emergency services. So if you have a kiddo that's interested in flying, they actually can do groundwork and then end up going up, in the planes as a kiddo. Nice. Yeah.
That is great. Now, I know a lot of families students who are interested in, like, the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado have, they're looking and they're thinking about what opportunities would look really great for the application. So a lot of those students are participate in CAP for obvious reasons. And so that is great. So, and so I see in the comments, someone said Civil Air Patrol, that's new to me. Yeah, it is a thing. It actually is a very big thing. So Mr. Scott mentioned it before we jumped on live and said, let's talk about it. So we threw it in just as a bonus plug for you all. And I wanted to just do a little bit of a recap. So we can just kind of go over real quickly the benefits of participating in JROTC. So we talked about the leadership development. It provides opportunities for homeschool students to develop leadership skills through training, exercises and practical experiences. So that's one benefit. Another benefit is character development. JROTC emphasizes character development, instilling values such as integrity, discipline, and respect. So those are good. A third benefit is the physical fitness, which Tara mentioned, right? JROTC promotes physical fitness and encourages students to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So that's great. And then social interaction. Joining JROTC allows homeschool students to engage with peers from a diverse range of backgrounds. So that may be a benefit for you, it may not, depends on your family's values, but overall, I consider it a plus. Scholarship opportunities. JROTC offers various scholarship opportunities for eligible students. So we learned about what's happening with Tara's son. So that's awesome. Career exploration. JROTC exposes students to different career paths and provides insights into the military profession. So you have a student who thinks they want to serve in the military and they aren't quite sure. It'd be a great opportunity for them to get that experience. And finally, a benefit is personal growth. So students can develop self-discipline, time management skills, because Tara mentioned about you got to be there certain times and all, right? And a strong work ethic because you have assignments from someone else other than mom, which we're great. We do great. I'm not bashing us as homeschool moms, but every once in a while, you might need a little bit of someone on the outside saying, this is due now.
Yeah.
And these can, of course, benefit them in their academic pursuits and future endeavors. So those are for a recap for the benefits. And we're going to get ready to get to the questions as well. And so let's go ahead and go to our questions here. Thank you all that are joining us, being patient. I did say we would get to the questions at the end. So now is it. All right. And so someone said, hey, Tara, Jessica Craven. So, yeah.
Hi, Jessica. Miss you.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. And that's great about military families.
Yep.
We always have so many friends all over the world. It's amazing. And then I think I did Brittany Sparks. I mentioned her. She's at Joint Base Andrews. So that's awesome. Thank you for joining us. Elizabeth Coles joining from Norfolk, 10th grade son. Anyone have any questions, Brittany or Elizabeth? Julie Hurst. I think I saw, you're at Sigonella, Sicily, Naval Air Station, Sigonella. Thanks for joining, Julie. Ciao, Bella. So Beth Stafford, we are in Rogersville, Missouri. We talked about that, not a military family. Beth, did you have any questions? Hopefully this has been helpful for you as well. And then Jessica says she's joining from Wiesbaden, Germany. So, I don't know if I met you. Did you make it to the European Homeschool Conference last May in Edelweiss, Jessica? I hope, if not, hope to see you in at Ramstein this May. So she's joining, and 2 of her homeschoolers are enrolled in JROTC at the local Dodea High School. So when we're talking about high schools earlier, specifically, I referenced the 2 near Fort Belvoir, but high schoolers in general, we didn't even pick up the piece about Dodea. So there are some military installations still in CONUS, continental United States, right? To describe that acronym, there are still some, but most of the Dodea schools are what we call OCONUS, which is outside the continental U.S., overseas, basically, right? And so that's where you get the local Dodea, but they are public schools, Department of Defense public schools for short. So that is great. And there are benefits to enrolling in Dodea. You're not necessarily enrolling as a public school or Dodea student. There's a category for homeschool students, but we benefited when we were in Naples, Italy with some of the activities, particularly the sports. And then Shanicia from Fort Gregg Adams, which used to be Fort Lee. All right, let's see here. And then her son, she said, my son is interested. And then 2 Ladies Midwest Adventures. I love that name, 2 Ladies Midwest Adventure Sky. Isn't that funny? This is a very good show. She says, thank you for sharing this. You're so welcome. I appreciate that you're on. Brittany says, is JROTC close or the same as Civil Air Patrol? Okay, so that was probably asked before we actually explained it. Did you still have another question, Brittany, about that? And then Two Ladies again says, I myself was in JROTC and ROTC in college. This gives me lots of hope seeing this. She's from, Two Ladies is from Omaha, Nebraska. Tanisha says, do you have to enroll into classes in order to participate? So yeah, we talked a little bit about that, but yeah, you do have to enroll. Am I correct? Because it is a class.
Right. So the two schools that we've been in, it was an enrollment as a part-time student, but we only had to take the one course. So he just took the JROTC. He had an option here, like in the state of Virginia, you have an option to take, I think it's up to, Scott probably knows, but it's up to 2 or 3 courses a semester, core courses, but we just opted for JROTC.
Okay. All right. And what else? Let's see. Oh, Two Ladies says, I'm curious if there are any free YouTube series that could be available too. WSU actually has a full ASG program on YouTube for college credit, although testing has to be done in person. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know of anything in reference to that, but that's a good question, Two Ladies. Jessica Bowman. Hey, Jessica. So happy to learn more about homeschool and JROTC. Thanks, Natalie and Tara, for sharing. Hey, thanks for jumping on. Jessica is leader of another homeschool group here at Fort Belvoir, Christian Homeschool Group. So awesome. Thanks for popping on. Two Ladies says, thank you, Scott. You have a fan. Two Ladies Midwest Adventure says, thank you, Scott. And then I saw some other questions here. Lockerbie. Dana says, okay, Dana's asking another question about the PSAT and National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. Dana, reach out to us if you have questions, because I don't want to initiate a conversation in this forum about that. But if you have questions, definitely we would be willing to assist you as we are able, recognizing that there is a struggle across the country with that. So I definitely reach out to our attorneys to talk with them about your situation. Okay. Let me see any other questions that I'm missing.
Hey, Natalie, can I jump in and just add one little footnote?
Oh, please do.
A homeschool student cannot be required to take additional public school classes as a condition of participating in JROTC. If the student wants to be involved in JROTC only and doesn't want any additional public school classes, the student cannot be compelled to take additional public school classes.
Thank you so much for saying that, because like you said, there's so much variety around the country, and I would hate for a family to have listened to this and then went to their local school and then they had a requirement. So that's why if you have questions about the requirements that you're being told when you have a conversation with your local schools, reach out to HSLDA so that we can make sure that you're not being asked something undue and basically not legal. All right. So definitely. Thanks, Scott. Can JROTC be used as a substitute for a subject or two? Julie Hurst asked that. That is a question that I would say reach out to our educational consultants. I am one of them, but that is hard to unpack right now, a full answer, Julie. So you can reach out to me if you want, military@hslda.org. And I can respond there or get you connected to one of our other high school educational consultants, because now we're talking about your transcript, and there are some other factors that need to be added in and discussed about that. Okay, Julie? And then Two Ladies is joking about the maps when I said lots of acronyms. I give you a hug for trying. Thank you. Civil Air Patrol. So we said that one. Let's see. Question concerning Civil Air Patrol. Would that align with the Coast Guard, Scott? Civil Air Patrol. Would that align with the Coast Guard?
I don't know if there's any direct connection between Civil Air Patrol and the Coast Guard. I suspect not. On the other hand, a high school student who has been in the Civil Air Patrol program probably looks like a more desirable candidate than one who has no exposure to any kind of military science or structure.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would think, definitely. Tara, did you have anything at all with that?
Not as far as the Coast Guard. I don't know much about what they require.
Okay. And then Two Ladies says, I really think that our military overall would benefit too from having many great homeschoolers becoming members later in a career path, making our military better too. Thanks, Two Ladies. Oh, and now Scott, she mentions that. Thank you also, Scott, she says, for your service as well. Prior
Thank you.
Navy
That's
here.
kind.
Awesome. We are a Navy family. My husband did 34 years. So as a family, we serve. So I am thankful for him and for all of us that are serving our country. Someone has to serve, right? So that people can sleep in peace at night. So I know that can be a challenge as well, but we work through it. And as military families, we make it happen. We work through it. What else? Beth says no questions, but this was very helpful. Thank you, she says. No questions. She says, Two Ladies says, I love Naples. I think you're saying Naples. Joining from Davis Monthan Air Force Base. Awesome, Tina. And looking into Civil Air Patrol for my youngest son. Thank you for comparing JROTC and CAP. Great. And Tina, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. We would definitely be able to answer those. Brittany says, no, ma'am. Thank you. My son is already doing Civil Air Patrol, but the information is good. So we still have a few more comments, you all. This is great. Big Dog Mom. Awesome. I love the names. Which would you say are better for a soon-to-be high schooler wanting to go to Air Force Academy to be a pilot, CAP or JROTC? I think I may have answered that, but I will. Scott, what are you thinking?
Just taking kind of a scientific absolute guess,
Yeah.
I would say Air Force JROTC, because the Air Force kind of feels like that's their program. I don't know if they feel the same sense of ownership for the Civil Air Patrol program. So I'd give a slight edge to Air Force JROTC.
Awesome. Okay, Big Dog. And someone said that was a good question, Big Dog. Thank you,
Can
Scott.
I add something real quick, Natalie, too, that we discovered?
Oh, yeah, please do.
Perfect.
Yes.
So we kind of asked this question, too, as we have other kids that are coming into high school. And what we had answered through the ROTC program that my son got accepted to, and I know service academies have the same kind of system, is that leadership points are really important. And so leadership points can be maxed out through different activities. And like doing both activities, say it's JRTC and Civil Air Patrol, would max you out on your leadership potential points on those. So it would like be replacing almost like a varsity letter, which my kids never had an opportunity to do since we moved so much.
Right.
But they're both really great leadership point opportunities.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Yeah, because we're all working. It's a team effort. This Facebook Live. It's a team effort. Someone said we used to be able to exchange JRTC for PE requirements before. Not sure if that changed. Yeah, we can talk through that. Julie says, "Grazie mille." Oh, that's great. I miss Naples. Oh my God. Go Navy. Someone says, no questions. Thank you all for the great information. So helpful, Big Dog Mom says. Thank you also for the information. And Tara, thank you also for that information. Two Ladies said. So I appreciate all of the comments, all of you all who have watched and participated today. I appreciate the replay viewers. Please feel free when you watch the replay, you can put comments and questions in as well. And I do try to go back as much as I can and see if there's any additional questions or comments. And if I need to get you connected to one of our attorneys, then we can do that as well. So this is a topic we could keep talking about for sure, right? So Tara and Scott, I thank you so much for joining us on this conversation. I hope this conversation was an encouragement for those who are watching. As military homeschool families, we face unique challenges and we can feel disconnected and forgotten a little bit. So here at HSLDA, we are working hard to develop resources that will help you find connections and encouragement. And we maintain a growing list of homeschool groups that you can search for overseas military support groups, as well as state and local ones here in the U.S. So we will post a link to that resource in the comments. Also, if you are a leader of a military homeschool support group, please contact me directly at military@hslda.org. I would love to get more of our military homeschool groups in our HSLDA group directory. So please reach out to me. Again, even if you're not a leader and you have questions, you can reach out to me via that email. HSLDA members also have access to a great legal team. Scott is here representing our great legal team as legal director, as well as fantastic educational consultants that can help military families like yours through questions and challenges that may come up in your homeschooling stateside or overseas. So if you're not already a member, we would love for you to join us. If you are in the military, we have a certain link that can take you directly to access a discount HSLDA gives in gratitude to us as military homeschoolers. That link is hsLDA.org/military discount. hsLDA.org/military discount. If you're non-military, we love you as well. So you can join at hsLDA.org/join. So 2 different links. They will both get you to membership. Again, I think that I don't see any other things. Thank you, Natalie. You're amazing. Oh, great, great, great. I love to hear that. Thank you so much. I'm joking. Thank you. And the military resources are posted there. They will live with this Facebook Live. All of our Facebook Lives also live on our YouTube channel. HSLDA has a YouTube channel. We have a military playlist. So all the ones that we've done in the past are there, so you can access them at any time. And I see one last thing. Quick question. Military contractors, would they be able to benefit as well? Interesting question. So when you talk about military contractors, are you talking about, I assume, DOD contractors then? Would they be able to benefit too? Well, it doesn't really matter. The JROTC program is not just for military or military connected. It's for anyone. Now, if you're talking about overseas and DODEA and all of that, that is a different situation. DODEA has basically levels, for lack of another word, that they determine if you're eligible for being able to enroll in their school and access their services. So that's a different question. So reach out to me if you need more clarification. All right. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much, Tara and Scott, and everyone else for joining us, even watching the replay. Please share it to your communities as well. And do we have any final comments, anyone? Anything, Scott or Tara, anything?
Thanks for allowing me to be on the show, Natalie.
Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate it, Scott. Thank you for being here with us. Tara, yeah, anything in particular?
No, thank you for having me on. And thank you guys, Natalie and Scott, for everything you guys do for our community.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You said yes when I asked you, and I was like, yes. So our next one coming up is Christmas around the world. So I'm excited. I won't share what countries, but it's going to be military homeschoolers, and we're going to be talking about Christmas traditions around the world. So you want to look and join us. The date is December 12th. So we will see you then. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.